all know the story about Robbie and his problems with drinking and drugs and all that, but from you, did you guys ever, get sort of hooked on all that stuff, or you all sort of experimented, or was there one of you who actually stayed clean during the whole period? All of a sudden, silence. Dead air. How about you, Jason? Were you sort of into all that, drugs, drink?
You know what? We were the kind of band where we had to stay fit and stuff because we were dancing as well as singing.
And now the real answer, Jason.
I'm going to get to that in a second. I'll just give you the bollocks first.
That's an honest answer.
No, it's not bollocks. It's truth. We had to stay fit on the road, and I think the worst we ever did was take a drink. But we never were a big drinking band.
No.
Just because we had to stay fit for the shows and stuff,
Is that bollocks, Mark, that he's saying, or is it actually true?
No. I think we knew how to party when the time was right. But
even little cute Mark, he used drugs?
Yeah, on occasion.
You did?
Yeah. I never bought them, though. They made me take them.
After
we were driving. Go on, Mark, get the drugs.
Now that makes sense to me. That makes sense. What were you going to say, Jace?
Yeah, I was just going to say what Howard said. Fill up the petrol tank, Mark, and then go and get some skunk weed from Amsterdam. No, not really.
Gary, you never all that?
Pardon?
First question he didn't understand. But I mean, were you into the drugs things?
Do you know what? I agree with Jason.
Why do you touch your nose when you...
No, do you know what? When we were in the band, I was very much, especially with... I did a lot of the singing, the concerts and stuff. Absolutely. I never really used to... I used to have a drink now and again. Yeah. It was after the band that I mean, there was a period after the band which... work stopped for me, and it was kind of, I got to about 27 and thought it's too young to retire, and so I was trying to reinvent what I did, being in the studio and stuff, and I actually smoked a lot of weed during that period, a lot of weed.
Okay.
I had a 6-7 month period where I pretty much smoked it every day.
Well, what I think is interesting, but I mean, it is 2006. We can all be a little bit more open about that, because I mean, 10 years ago, I mean, the image was really squeaky clean. And I think it's sort of interesting to know now that, you guys went through your things, and we found out about Robbie, through the years.
Yeah.
I mean, and it hit him hardest.
But even Rob was after the band, because I think he often complains about the fact that we had to work so hard and be on stage, and the shows were so physical back then. So he discovered all that after the band, his drinking stuff, that, if you read his book, it's all in there it's all after the band.
Okay.
And it was similar for me.
Yeah. So, well, he left the band in 95, and then we're going to bring back some traumatic times for the girls here in the audience, because I have a clip of what happened between, 95 and 96 and the last day in Amsterdam. Take a look. Door het succes en de roem zijn de jongens veranderd. Er ontstaan veel spanningen binnen de groep en ze zitten aan de drugs en de drank. Vooral Robbie krijgt problemen met het management en begint veel problemen te veroorzaken door zijn overmatig drankmisbruik.
Oh, so depressed. So depressed. And I was going back to my hotel in Manchester. And I just drink myself into oblivion, and I could just remember, wailing like a banshee, uncontrollable, in my room by myself, downing a bottle of neat vodka.
Robbie weet het zeker. Hij wilde mee stoppen.
Rob went off to Glastonbury, and I remember he came back and he was absolutely wasted, and he went upstairs and had a bit of a kip, and he came down a bit later, and Rob said he didn't want to be in the band no more.
Ze gaan nog even met z'n vieren door, scoren nog wat hits, maar de geruchten blijken waar. En op 13 februari 1996 volgt er een persconferentie.
Thanks for everybody's support in the last 5 years. You've been absolutely fantastic to us. But unfortunately the rumours are true. How Deep Is Your Love is going to be our last single together. And the greatest hit is going to be our last album. And from today, is no more.
There you go.
Thank you.
Miljoenen harten worden gebroken en hulplijnen voor verdrietige fans worden in het leven geroepen. Er volgt een afscheidstoer die eindigt in Nederland. let me run this by you, because I was there last day in Amsterdam, interviewed you guys, and this was my impression. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but let me just fire it off at you guys. Jason, my impression of you was you were sort of happy that it was over, and you were really looking forward to some time to yourself and do some traveling and all that. You were actually kind of sort of relieved. Is that true?
That is great perception. Perfect. Yeah.
Was it true?
Yeah.
That's sort of how it can go. Howard, I noticed from you that you sort of, you couldn't really imagine anything else than what you were doing. You actually hadn't had a picture in your mind of what it was going to be like, you know, not being in the band. You sort of thought, okay, well, life goes on, and probably in the same sort of energy and same sort of existence as I am right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think when it ended, I didn't see a future for myself. But at the time, with the hard work that we were doing, it was one of those things where you feel like you need the break, and you do think splitting up is the right thing to do. But then you find out 6 months later that you've got nothing to do. You know, you're living in each other's pockets 24 hours a day, then all of a sudden you're not. And you're thinking, well, you know, I've got nothing in my life anymore. You know, that's how I felt about it. I was probably more depressed about it than anybody.
It's because in the documentary it sort of touches...
I think I should be Dutch, actually.
Yeah, really. But I mean, in the documentary it sort of touched upon the subject that you almost tried to kill yourself because you were so depressed. Is that correct? Did you actually...
Yeah, I think it was one of those minutes where I had this thought in my head where I was in a hotel room in London one day, and I think, if I remember rightly, I had a bit of a disagreement with Gary this day, and I felt... no, this is the truth. I had a bit of a disagreement, and with everything that was going on, you know, I knew it was going to split up, and I wanted to go down to the Thames and throw myself in. But it was night time, and I thought, if it's just mud and the tide's gone out, I'm going to be stuck in the mud. Waiting for someone to rescue me.
But that really sort of shows subliminally you didn't want to die that day.
No, I mean, if someone would have said, right, you want to die now, go and throw yourself in front of a train, right. I wouldn't have done.
No, you wouldn't have done it. But I mean, it shows how low you got, sort of.
Yeah, I was low.
Yeah. And Gary, what I sensed from you, you were sort of the more confident of the four, and you were sort of, okay, because there were so many things already, that's how it felt, lined up for you. You know, you had a record deal, you're going to come out with a solo album and all that. So it wasn't sort of a big shock, or you didn't really have to deal with all the insecurity of what I'm going to do now.
No, I was in the mindset of this is just my life forever. Yeah. This is how it's going to be. Whatever I write is going to be a platinum record. That was honestly how I thought.
It's true. Because then you got...
Because I'd had 6 years of just going in my room, writing something. It would be the week later we'd be doing the video, and the week after that it'd be #1 in the charts. Yeah. That's all we had for 6 years.
Yeah. And Mark, I mean, you also kickstarted this sort of a solo career. Yeah. And actually one great song, but help me out. What was it? Clementine?
Clementine.
I thought it was a fantastic song.
Thank you very much. You were the one that bought it.
That was a hit in the UK anyway.
Hit in the UK. Yeah, I remember playing that on the radio. That was fantastic. And did you hit a few of those lows that
I think for me, I wanted to distance. Do you know when you're part of something for so long, like as we were for 5 or 6 years, and it was very intense. Everywhere we went, you know, people were like cheering us on and supporting us, which is amazing. But when that came to an end, you know, even when we see those pictures of that you showed earlier, you know, it's hard for us to... We were so much in this little bubble at that time that we didn't really see what everybody else was feeling. So when we split up and stuff like that, I think that, you know, we did it for maybe in some ways a selfish reason, that we really were tired and we needed to have a break from it. Yeah. And then when I went solo, it was really important for me to distance myself from Take That.
Oké, dames en heren, blijf kijken, want we hebben straks veel meer met Take That. Ook de confrontatie met Robbie Williams. Je wil dit niet missen. Meer met Take That gaan ook nog optreden. Wat een avond, hè, dames. Tot zo, blijf je. Ook met het publiek. Te gek.